How's it going, Humber Hawks Nation? It's your boy Luca Rosano, the sports reporter for Sports Information and Humber Hawks Athletics. And today there's no games because all of the teams are getting some much needed rest because we are in the winter break. But I decided I was going to do a more personal and intimate video with the Humber Hawks Nation. I wanted to talk about my top 3 favorite moments from the year that was leading up to this winter break. Now, this video is going to be biased, but remember, it's from my eyes, my point of view, and from my experiences as being a sports reporter from the last couple of months. So, without further ado, I present to you Luca Rosano's top 3 year in review moments. Coming in at number 1, I gotta go with myself covering the 2014 Hall of Fame ceremony. Now, coming into this night, I didn't know what to expect. I just knew I was going to expect a lot of great athletes coming back and literally cherishing their moment of getting their limelight under the spotlight and being officially inducted in the 2014 Hall of Fame. Just from my point of view, this was an incredible night, seeing so many amazing athletes from Kelly Nyhoff, Tara Petchenko, so many great coaches, so many great other athletes coming together and just salivating what was happening and being able to host the night, getting so many interviews from so many great athletes throughout Humber's history. Now, these are not your just typical athletes. These are great athletes. They're athletes who are good enough to be inducted in a Hall of Fame. Now, I will never be inducted in a Hall of Fame, and growing up as a kid, I always wanted to be a part of one of these. So to see all of these athletes coming together, their families, their fans, living the moment with them, and then getting their insight and getting their thought process and sharing some of the moments they had as a player growing up, from now looking back at some of the new and up and coming Humber athletes. It's just a great moment to be a part of. And it was a great night filled with many special moments, like I mentioned, and it really brought home the fact that if you achieve whatever you want to achieve and you work hard leading up to that, you can accomplish everything. And these athletes weren't just really good during their prime time at Humber, they were really great. And they got recognized for that on the platform, on a grand stage, and they got their moment as they were inducted in the Hall of Fame. And for me to interview some of Humber's greatest athletes, I think that's a pretty good, impressive feat and a big achievement on my resume. So I'll put that at number 1. Number 2 now. It's a 2014 men's rugby team going on the road and living up to their name as the Road Warriors of 2014 and capturing their 5th consecutive OCAA championship under the cold confinements and the frigid conditions over at Trent University. And let me tell you, those environments were hostile because we had an unwelcoming Trent community not wanting any of the Humber faithful going over there, and they wanted Humber to lose. Well, spoiler alert, Humber did the opposite. We beat them. We beat them and we claimed our mark and territory, and we brought the championship back home as we celebrated on the field and on their territory. That made it that much more special because it was my first road trip with any varsity sports team, and for it to be with the men's rugby team, arguably the greatest rugby team that the sport has ever seen, and to beat Trent in their home and take that championship away from them and celebrate on their field, that was amazing. Interviewing the players, the coaches who were part of a long, vigorous season. I'll tell you something. The rugby team was a damn good team, but those coaches, if they had one play where they messed up, even though Humber was up 60-0 in some of the games, the coaches would be on their tail saying, guys, you got to continue to apply the pressure. We are not going to lighten up here. And well, let me tell you something. That momentum carried into the final because it wasn't a blowout. It was actually a closely contested game. It came down to the wire. But Humber, resilient as always, they pulled it through. I got a chance to interview great athletes, some of the coaching on the coaching staff, and their overwhelmingness was surreal. They celebrated and enjoyed, and they knew that their hard work throughout those couple of months came down to this moment, and they capitalized on the moment by winning. So to share a championship with the men's rugby team and captivate that moment in Trent, that was unbelievable. Listen, I couldn't feel my hands. My camera guy, I think he caught some type of ammonia. He was freezing, but it didn't matter at that moment because we had to drive home knowing that we were champions and we just covered a hell of a game and saw our boys walk away victorious. Now, number 3, Terrell Bramwell's record-setting night. Let me put this into perspective on how the night felt. It felt like Peyton Manning when he broke the all-time touchdown record. Obviously not at the same caliber, but Terrell Bramwell being the great athlete that he is, it couldn't have happened to a more special and humble young man. Throughout his 5-year tenure, he's accomplished some great things on the court. So to be OCAA's all-time points leader, it means a little bit something to him and the Humber community. Because that record not only belongs to Bramwell, it belongs to his teammates and Humber. And that is awesome to know. And the night itself, leading up to the big epic point where when he officially broke the streak, it was amazing. You know, we had some of our SAA people going around. They were flashing how many points he was away from officially breaking the streak. And then once he finally broke the mark, it was kind of like what you would see in a professional game. Both teams stood aside, and Bramwell had his moment under the spotlight. He had his moment that he's worked for all his life. And to interview this young man afterward, after a celebratory night, it was just amazing. You know, I felt his sheer emotions in that interview. He doesn't credit himself. He credits his teammates, his hard work, because obviously you don't get to where he is without working your tail off day in and day out. And to be able to interview a guy like Bramwell and just get inside of his head and just talk about what the moment means to him and his legacy was absolutely unreal. And that moment, the night will never be forgotten in my sporting career. So those are 3 of my favorite moments from the year that was, and 3 moments that I will always reflect on and look back on when I continue my sports reporting career as being the 3 moments that really jump-started me to where I am today. So those are my 3 moments, and remember, just from my perspective, but it's been one hell of a year for Humber sports and for all of the varsity teams, and I don't expect much to change in the new year of 2015. So on behalf of myself, Sports Information, and Humber Hawks Athletics, thank you to the people who appreciate and watch what we do, and be sure to check out all the teams in the new year. Our volleyball teams are playing stellar right now. Our basketball teams are poised for championship pushes. So until next time, I'm Luca Rosano. Happy holidays to everybody watching. Humber Hawks Nation, you guys are the best, and I'll see you guys in 2015. Thanks. Club going up on Tuesday. Got your girl in the cut and she choose.